7-year-old Sophie just wanted to pick flowers for her mom's birthday. But when she crawled through the fence into the field where she used to play, HOA President Karen Williams was watching. 3 minutes later, SWAT teams surrounded the neighborhood. One gunshot changed everything forever. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. My name is Mike Johnson. 2 years ago, I moved to Sunset Hills with my wife Lisa and our 7-year-old daughter Sophie. We thought we found the perfect place to raise our family. The houses were beautiful. The streets were clean. Every lawn was perfect green. The neighborhood looked like a movie set. We bought a house on Maple Street. It had a big backyard that faced an empty field. The field was full of wild grass, old trees, and colorful flowers. Sophie fell in love with it immediately. "Daddy, can I play in the field?" she asked on our first day. "Of course, sweetheart. Just stay where I can see you." Sophie ran into the field with our golden retriever, Buddy. She picked flowers, chased butterflies, and built fairy houses with sticks and leaves. The field became her magical kingdom. Other kids played there too. Tommy from next door, Maria from across the street, and little Sam from the corner house. They all loved the field. Their parents would sit on their porches watching and smiling. Life was perfect. Too perfect. Karen Williams lived in the biggest house on our street. She was 52 years old with short gray hair and sharp green eyes. She always wore expensive clothes and drove a black Mercedes. Karen was the president of our homeowners association. She had been president for 8 years. Nobody dared to challenge her. Karen made all the rules. She decided what color you could paint your house. She decided what flowers you could plant. She decided everything about our lives. I first met Karen 3 weeks after we moved in. She knocked on our door with a clipboard and a fake smile. "Welcome to Sunset Hills, Mr. Johnson. I'm Karen Williams, HOA president. We need to discuss some issues." "What issues?" I asked. "Your mailbox is the wrong color. Your grass is too long. And your daughter cannot play in that field." I was confused. Why can't Sophie play in the field? Other kids play there. Karen's smile disappeared. "That field belongs to the HOA. Children are not allowed there. It's against our rules." I never saw any signs. The real estate agent said kids could play there. "Well, now you know. Keep your daughter out or there will be consequences." That night, I read through all our HOA documents. There was nothing about the field. Nothing about children being banned from playing there. The next Saturday, Sophie was playing in the field with Buddy. She was making a flower crown for her mom. I was washing my car in the driveway, keeping an eye on her. Karen appeared like a storm cloud. "I told you to keep your daughter out of my field," she screamed. Sophie looked up, scared. She was holding half-finished flower crown. "Sophie, come here, honey," I called. Karen marched toward my daughter. "You're trespassing, little girl." "She's 7 years old, Karen. She's just playing." "I don't care how old she is. This is my property." Sophie ran to me, tears in her eyes. "Daddy, why is the mean lady yelling at me?" Karen heard this. Her face turned red with anger. "I am not mean. I am protecting our property values. Children destroy everything they touch. It's just an empty field, Karen. Not for long. I have plans for this land. Big plans. And I won't let some brat ruin everything." Sophie started crying harder. I picked her up and carried her inside. "Why can't I play in my field anymore, Daddy?" Sophie asked that night. "I don't know, baby. Some grown-ups forget how to be nice." I decided to investigate. I went to City Hall and checked the property records. What I found shocked me. The field didn't belong to the HOA. It didn't belong to Karen. It was public land owned by the city. Anyone could use it. I called the city planning office. They confirmed it. The field was designated as community green space. Children had every right to play there. Armed with this information, I confronted Karen at the next HOA meeting. "Karen, I checked the property records. That field is public land. You have no authority there." Karen's face turned white, then red. "Those records are wrong. I've been managing that property for years." "Show me the deed. Show me any document that proves the HOA owns that field." Karen couldn't. Because there wasn't one. But instead of admitting her mistake, Karen got angrier. "I don't care what some dusty old records say. I won't have children destroying our neighborhood." The next Monday, workers arrived at the field. They built a 6-foot-tall fence around the entire area. Karen stood there supervising, wearing a satisfied smile. She put up signs everywhere: "Private property, and no trespassing, violators will be prosecuted." Sophie pressed her face against our back window, watching her playground disappear. It's not fair, Daddy. I wasn't hurting anything. My heart broke watching my daughter's sadness. I called the city about the illegal fence. They said they would investigate, but it could take weeks or months. Other parents were angry too. Tommy's mom, Sarah, came to our door. This is insane, Mike. Our kids have played there for years. Who does Karen think she is? Someone who's forgotten what childhood is about, I replied. For 2 months, Sophie stared at her lost field through our window. She drew pictures of it. She dreamed about playing there again. One afternoon, while Lisa and I were busy with chores, Sophie made a decision. She found a loose board in Karen's fence. Just big enough for a small girl to squeeze through. Sophie couldn't resist. She missed her field too much. She crawled through the fence with Buddy. She just wanted to pick some flowers for her mom's birthday tomorrow. Sophie sat under her favorite oak tree, the one where she used to build fairy houses. She picked 3 yellow daisies and 2 purple wildflowers. She was being so quiet, so careful. She thought nobody would see her. She was wrong. Karen was watching from her kitchen window. She saw Sophie slip through the fence. She saw her picking flowers. All of Karen's anger and bitterness exploded. She went to her bedroom and opened her husband's gun safe. She took out his pistol. Her hands were shaking with rage. Karen had been fighting with everyone for months. The city was investigating her illegal fence. Other neighbors were complaining about her. She felt like she was losing control. And now this little girl was defying her again. Karen marched to the field, gun in hand. Sophie was still sitting under the oak tree. She had made a small bouquet for her mom. Buddy was lying next to her, enjoying the sunshine. I warned you, Karen screamed. Sophie looked up, confused and frightened. She saw the gun and didn't understand what was happening. Mrs. Williams? I'm sorry. I just wanted flowers for Mommy's birthday. I told you to stay out. I told everyone to stay out. Sophie stood up slowly. The flowers fell from her hands. Buddy started growling, sensing danger. Please don't be mad. I'll leave right now. But Karen was beyond reason. Months of anger and hatred had poisoned her mind. You people never listen. You think you can do whatever you want. Sophie started walking toward the fence, scared and crying. That's when Karen raised the gun. This ends now. The gunshot echoed through the entire neighborhood. Sophie screamed and fell to the ground. Blood spread across her pink t-shirt. Buddy barked frantically, running in circles around his fallen friend. Sophie was crying, scared and hurt. Daddy, Mommy, help me. Karen stood there, still holding the smoking gun. She stared at the little girl bleeding in the grass. Reality crashed down on her. What had she done? Mrs. Chun from across the street had seen everything from her window. She called 911 immediately. A woman just shot a child. Send ambulances and police. Hurry. I was in my garage when I heard the gunshot. Then I heard Sophie screaming. I ran faster than I ever ran in my life. I found my daughter lying in the field, bleeding and crying. Karen was still standing there with the gun. You shot my daughter. I screamed. You shot my baby. I knelt beside Sophie, pressing my hands against her wound. It's okay, sweetheart. Daddy's here. You're going to be okay. Sophie looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Daddy, it hurts. Why did she hurt me? I just wanted flowers for Mommy. 3 minutes after the shooting, our quiet street filled with sirens. Police cars, ambulances, and a SWAT team surrounded the area. Karen had run back to her house and locked the doors. She was still holding the gun, barricaded in her bedroom. This is police. Come out with your hands up. Paramedics worked on Sophie while I held her hand. The bullet had hit her shoulder, missing her heart and lungs. She was lucky to be alive. She's going to be okay, the paramedic said. But we need to get her to the hospital now. Lisa arrived just as they were loading Sophie into the ambulance. She had been at the grocery store when a neighbor called her. What happened? Is she okay? Oh God, there's so much blood. Karen shot her, I said, barely believing my own words. She shot our little girl for picking flowers. While Sophie was rushed to the hospital, SWAT negotiators tried to talk Karen out of her house. Mrs. Williams, we know you're scared. But you need to come out. That little girl needs you to do the right thing. Karen wouldn't answer. She sat in her bedroom, staring at the gun, realizing her life was over. Neighbors gathered in the street, watching in shock. These were people who had been afraid of Karen for years. Now they saw her for what she really was. She's been getting worse and worse, said Mrs. Peterson from down the street. Always angry, always yelling at the children. Someone should have stopped her before this, added Mr. Garcia. We all knew she was dangerous. After 2 hours, Karen finally came out. She walked slowly, hands raised, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean to hurt her," she kept saying. "I just wanted them to follow the rules." Sophie was in surgery for 3 hours. The doctors had to remove the bullet and repair damaged tissue. Lisa and I waited in the hallway holding each other and praying. Finally, Dr. Martinez came out with good news. "Sophie is going to be fine. The bullet missed all major organs. She'll have some scarring, but she should make a full recovery." When Sophie woke up, the first thing she asked was, "Are you mad at me, Daddy? I know I wasn't supposed to go in the field." I started crying. "No, baby. I'm not mad at you. You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all." "Is Mrs. Williams in trouble?" "Yes, sweetheart. She's in big trouble. I hope she gets help." She seemed very sad and angry. Even after being shot, my 7-year-old daughter felt sorry for the woman who hurt her. That's the kind of heart Sophie has. During the police investigation, Karen's lies unraveled completely. The field was public land. Karen had no authority there. She had been lying to the HOA board for years. Karen had also been stealing money from the HOA treasury. She owed thousands of dollars in back taxes. Her husband had left her 6 months ago because of her anger and lies. Karen had been spiraling into madness and she took it out on an innocent child. The district attorney charged Karen with attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, child endangerment, fraud, and illegal imprisonment. "This woman terrorized an entire neighborhood," the prosecutor said. "She shot a 7-year-old girl for picking flowers. She deserves the maximum penalty." Karen's trial lasted 2 weeks. The whole neighborhood testified against her. They told stories of her cruelty. How she fined families for children's chalk drawings. How she called police on kids for laughing too loudly. How she made everyone afraid in their own homes. But the worst testimony came from Sophie herself. The judge allowed her to speak, with me holding her hand. "I just wanted to pick flowers for my mommy's birthday," Sophie said in her small voice. "I wasn't trying to be bad. I don't understand why Mrs. Williams was so angry all the time." There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom. Karen's lawyer tried to claim she was mentally ill, that she was protecting property rights, that it was all a misunderstanding. Nobody believed it. The jury took only 2 hours to find Karen guilty on all charges. The judge sentenced her to 20 years in prison. "You shot an innocent child," he said. "You terrorized a community. You showed no remorse until you were caught. This sentence reflects the seriousness of your crimes." Sophie spent 6 weeks recovering from her physical wounds. But the emotional healing took much longer. She had nightmares. She was afraid to go outside. She wouldn't play with other children. We got her counseling. We surrounded her with love and patience. Slowly, very slowly, Sophie started to heal. The city removed Karen's illegal fence. They turned the field into an official community park with playground equipment, flower gardens, and benches for parents. They asked Sophie what they should name it. "Friendship Park," she said. "Because friends should be able to play together." Today, Sophie is 9 years old. She plays in Friendship Park every day after school. She's happy, healthy, and full of life. The scar on her shoulder reminds us of that terrible day. But Sophie doesn't see it as a mark of trauma. She calls it her brave mark. "It shows that bad things can happen, but good people will always help you," she explains. Sophie has become the neighborhood's little hero. When new families move in, she welcomes them to Friendship Park. She shares her toys and includes everyone in her games. She's everything Karen Williams was not: kind, generous, and full of love. Karen Williams sits in prison now with 18 years left on her sentence. She writes letters to our family sometimes, begging for forgiveness. Sophie always asks me to write back. "Tell her I forgive her, Daddy. Tell her I hope she finds peace." My daughter's capacity for forgiveness amazes me every day. Friendship Park is full of children's laughter now. Sophie leads the games, includes everyone, and spreads joy wherever she goes. Sometimes I watch her playing and remember that terrible day. How close we came to losing her. How one person's hatred almost destroyed something beautiful. But Sophie survived. She forgave. And she taught all of us what really matters in life. Love wins over hate. Kindness defeats cruelty. And the laughter of children is the most precious sound in the world. Sophie makes sure that laughter never stops.